It's looking like we are live. Yes, sir, with your boy. I know what everybody thought. Listen to me. They thought they thought I wasn't gonna come back with another one like Khaled. They really thought that's crazy. Well, isn't it news to you that you are now back recording, filming, watching, consuming, being entertained and educated by the one, the only Coach Solly in the building. This is the King of Hosts. Yes, you heard me say it. You back with the King of Hosts for what should by now be considered the greatest show on earth. May or may not be, but it's the King of Hosts, so you already know the show got to fall in line. This is another episode of the Tried and True podcast where I like to keep it a what? I need y'all to say it with me. One, two, three, a buck in all pennies, yes, sir, with y'all. Sometimes my guests, but most of all with myself. And me doing that with myself allows me to continue to do that with y'all. I know that's the only reason y'all listen to me anyway. Whole lot of cap going on, whole lot of rap cap going on, but it's not coming from me. So I appreciate my loyal listeners and followers and viewers. Listen, speaking of which, the audience has been growing. Super grateful. Y'all might already know this. Let me turn this up. I've been trying to grow the YouTube audience in particular. I've been trying to grow, get the subscribers up. I've been trying to get the people who actually view the videos up, but really subscribers, a very small percentage of folks who watch the videos and listen to the podcast actually subscribe. And that's just true across the board for all YouTubers. People who are into esports and then watch the gaming, y'all hear him in the beginning of the videos and the streams on Twitch all the time tell y'all, only such and such percent of people actually subscribe. So I'm very grateful that subscribers have been going way up. I need reviews, I need subscribers, I need all that. So do me that favor if you're watching this or listening to this, go subscribe right now on the YouTube channel. You already know what it is. The links being there. If you're on YouTube, you're already there. Do me a solid. Do Solly a solid and hit the button. Listen, y'all, I would come to y'all with a whole bunch of updates about stuff, but um, honestly, consistency is boring. So let me update y'all about this. I've been doing a whole bunch of the same stuff consistently over a longer period of time than I was last time because so much time has gone by, blah, blah, blah. So your boy's just staying consistent, man. Yeah, that other book is coming soon. Ooh, I'm bumping into stuff. That other book is coming soon because I'm just staying consistent. The finances are looking consistent. The relationships are growing, taking some hits in the family, taking some L's, but that's life. Life happens. But the L's, you put two of those together and make what? A W. We don't let that knock us off of our block. So I don't really have too many updates for y'all, man. I'm gonna keep it a buck. There are, however, some conversations I've been having, which I kind of want to get into with y'all. I didn't want to jump into it too fast, but it's a couple of conversations I've been having about things. Now I've spoken about this before. There's like some imposter syndrome things going on. There's people not necessarily recognizing who they are, and then it's affecting the way they live life and do business and manage relationships going on. The way that you view yourself comes out in what you tolerate from other people. So you could, say what you want, but I'm looking at the way that you accept certain things from other people. I'm looking at the way that you communicate and the way that you allow other people to treat you will tell me what you believe about you. So, that's another area where there's a whole lot of rap cap going on. People speaking highly of themselves publicly, kind of some pride and ego stuff going on there because behind closed doors, those people don't actually believe a lot of the stuff about themselves. So a lot of that outward expression, some of it is good, but a lot of it can become toxic because what you truly need to do is meditate on who you are. And it's a whole nother podcast. Nonetheless, that imposter syndrome and the way that you treat yourself and what you tolerate from yourself, speaking to who you believe that you are, that comes out in the way that you do business. Some of these things I want to talk to y'all about are dealing with that. So let me tell y'all. Okay, so I was having a conversation with somebody recently, and this is a person who is having different events, but there's an event in particular, and we were discussing some things surrounding the prices and people being able to or not able to afford to experience the same amenities. It's like when you have a conference and you have like the general admission, the VIP, and then like the platinum, right? So for a long time, I could only do general admission stuff when I go places or conferences, sometimes I might be in a financial position. Well, now typically I'm in a position where as long as I'm willing to make that sacrifice, I could do the VIP or the platinum, right? And there's certain things that only the VIP will get and the platinum will get, but not general admission. And then, you know, same goes for platinum. Certain things only platinum get, not VIP and not the GA. So, for example, I was at 360 Mankind when that happened. Shout out to ETA. We was in Atlanta, and I had the VIP. There are certain things that only the platinum got to experience, though. So I'm there, and I started to see the amount of things that the platinum purchasers and the platinum group got to do. I saw some of it, from, I don't want to say a distance, like I was there up close when they were going places and going into rooms and witnessing conversations and having conversations with people. And I wasn't getting to, and I have VIP, so I was doing stuff that general admission didn't get to. But I didn't get the platinum experience because I didn't make the platinum sacrifice. You feel me? Now I couldn't be mad at the conference for me not getting the platinum experience. I got in return what I sacrificed to get. Right? Follow me. And due to the fact that I set with myself with the consequences, me and the consequences set together. The consequences of me not making the platinum sacrifice were me not getting the platinum experience. Um, so that's something I had to sit with, which drove my decision. And when I left, I decided I if I can get the platinum experience, then I need to do it every single time because I was exposed to so much information, and there was just so much enlightenment and awakening that happened during the VIP experience and general admission stuff as well. I was there for both of that. I'm like, I can only imagine the level of empowerment that went on during these platinum sessions. I can only imagine it. So me sitting with the consequences and just thinking and imagining, like, wow, platinum, that's crazy. Just the thought of that drove me to decide if I can get the platinum, I need to do it every time. So get this, I'm chopping it up with the people who are having this event, the person I'm actually talking to, and we were discussing allowing people to feel the consequences of not being able to do everything that everyone is able to do because they didn't spend the money or weren't able to spend the money this time. Allow them to come, allow them to have an experience, a great experience, allow them to be there. There's a couple of nonprofits and businesses are involved making donations. I'm donating as well. My business is donating, and Kalia's donating as well. But certain things that I there are certain things that I could do for the people who don't pay the money, don't pay full amount of money the same as everybody else. But it's important for these people to feel the consequences so that they can go back with that drive, right? And that can sound cold, but just think about it. There are a lot of things that people want in life, right? So a certain way that people want to live, and when they're not able to live that way, and it's on them, they go back to the drawing board and say, "Well, I genuinely, truly want that. I can feel that I missed out on something. Now I might have everything I need right now, but maybe I don't have everything I want, and I feel that absence, which is helping drive me toward filling in that gap. Make sure my logo's still up back there. Toward filling in that gap. So what I do is I don't steal a person's opportunity to invest in themselves because I understand the power of a person investing in themselves. From experience, I understand the power of sacrifice. So, you in your life, there are certain levels of relationship with you that people can't get. There's an innermost circle that you have. Then there's your inner circle, not your innermost circle. And then there's your outer circle, right? So you have your outer circle, your inner circle, and your innermost circle. Your innermost circle might have like two other people in it. It's like you, maybe two other people, maybe three. Your innermost circle is the innermost intimate relationships that you have on the planet. Then you got your regular inner circle, might have more people. Like you got your inner circle, might have like 10 folks anywhere. It's like, man, these are like, you know, people I trust to some degree, and you got your outer circle where it's like, okay, these are people who some of them I call friends, some of them are just acquaintances. I might trust them to be themselves or trust them with certain things, but they're not really in my inner circle like that. So I'm not bending over backwards for them. Then you got your inner circle who are like, there are circumstances where I might bend over backwards for them, but I'm not dying for them. Then you got your innermost circle where it's like, I will trade my life for yours. That's the level of sacrifice I'm down to make for you. Um, I know that there are certain people who want that innermost circle experience with me, but we ain't had innermost circle experiences to get them in there with me, right? There's a certain level of sacrifice that I've made in my life. They either weren't there for or they chose not to make with me when they had a chance to. So they don't get the innermost circle type benefits. Where it's like, if I have one and you have zero, then we both have half, right? And that's like me personally, I'm like that in general, but just it's just an analogy. Okay, follow me, follow me, follow me. Right. So here's another thing. If I'm the type of person who wants to go the extra mile to make sure that you can have a certain type of experience, I want to, and I'm expecting certain things to be done on your end so that you can like meet me halfway. If I'm expecting that stuff, but I didn't communicate the standard in advance, then I can't be mad when you don't meet the standard that I didn't communicate. Follow me. I can't be mad when you don't meet the standards that I didn't communicate. I can't be mad at that. It's literally all my fault. It's not partially my fault. It's not like a little bit on you, a little bit on God, a little bit on me. So we split in three ways. That's all my fault. I had an opportunity or a chance to communicate that and I didn't. I didn't really set and listen to me. I know the standard. It's set within me, but I didn't set it publicly. It ain't on the fridge. If I ain't write it on the fridge, how can I expect you to know? Right? Think of it like this. Me and you live together, right? You my roommate. We need groceries. I know a bunch of stuff that I need for me. You the only one going to the store. If I don't put the stuff on the list, I can't be mad when you don't come home with it. I cannot be mad when you don't come home with it. Now I can't cook what we both wanted to eat, but it's my fault. I didn't put it on the list. I can't put that on you. Well, you knew I was making spaghetti. Well, you going to the store. I'm supposed to make the list of the stuff that I need. I'm the one cooking, right? So this person is having this event. There's certain standard that they want people to meet. People who meet this standard get this experience. This standard get this experience. But think of it like this. If I start giving everyone the same experience and they're not making equal sacrifice, I ain't say equal giving, and they're not making equal sacrifice, then these people to my left are not getting what they deserve for making a high level of sacrifice. They're not getting those benefits for real because the people on the right who didn't have to make the sacrifice are still getting that experience. So I'm doing a disservice to both. I removed an opportunity for the people on the right to invest in themselves. So they're not actually feeling an experience. They're not really feeling what a person will feel when they understand that sacrifice. There's a certain level of satisfaction that comes post sacrifice. They don't get the full experience. And then there's these people who are like, well, then what's the difference? Why did I make the sacrifice? Now, if you're like me and you know the benefits of making a sacrifice and you understand that the plunder just feels so much better when you had to sacrifice. Captain Hook sacrificed a hand for that treasure. It feels better for him than it feels for his crewmates who didn't have. You standing here just pulling the sail. You're a crewmate, but it's a level of sacrifice that the captain of the ship made to become captain. It feels better. It's a different type of experience. You dig what I'm saying? So communicate your standard in the beginning so that it can be met, so that you don't steal a person's opportunity to invest in themselves. My next point here, I got some bullet points this time because I'm trying to do this right. Okay. I'm trying to do this right. Okay. Stop adjusting to everyone else's standards and stick to your own. If they feel too high, but you know they're where they should be, that is good. Listen to me. If the standard feels a little bit too high, but you know it's exactly where it's supposed to be, good. Do not adjust it. You don't adjust down. Snoop and ASAP Rocky had a conversation, and Snoop talked about it in the interview. We didn't hear the actual conversation, I don't think. Or it was Snoop having a conversation with ASAP, and he was illustrating this. One of those two things. I just know Snoop said this. I've seen it a million times. So if you're going upward and you got homies, right? You got associates, friends. You have people around who are not going upward. They're either staying still or going downward, and you're going upward. But you want them to stick with you. There's only two options. Either you got to come down or they got to come up. Let me tell you something. The amount of people that will lose If you decide to go down instead of drive them to go up, it's too many. That is a sacrifice that is not worth making because that person loses because you just brought everything down so that they can stick, so they don't feel the benefits of coming upward. And then all of the people that were depending on you continuing to climb, watching you to motivate them and inspire them to climb, or as like a living instruction manual, right? The good book says, the Bible says, a living epistle. There are people out there who are looking at you as the how to, and they're watching you go down to meet people where they are. All these different groups of people are suffering now because you came down instead of inspiring, motivating their sacrifice to move upward. So do not adjust you or your standard down. Stick to what your standard is. If you know it's where it's supposed to be and it feels too high, that's perfect. That's perfect because that means people have to reach and they have to climb to get to it. And what happens when you have to reach and you have to climb and then you get there? You higher than you were before. You know what happens when you go higher? The lows are higher. They're not as low as they used to be. And nothing feels better than having a low that is so much higher than it used to be. I'm telling you, because then you sit there and you have hardship in life and you have made sacrifice and you feel things that aren't there, but then you think to yourself, dang, this is a good set of problems. I'm telling you from experience, again, I think about this all the time. I got a real good set of problems right now. Real good. All right. Now, some things I think about and I'm just like, man, that's not something that should have happened to me. That's not something I want to be dealing with. But let me tell you about how the stuff I'm dealing with right now, so much better than the stuff I was dealing with a decade ago. My goodness. I love these problems in comparison to those. And I'm working toward having some new ones. Some even better problems. Okay. Better problems. Listen, you're pruning out people's low quality of life or low people's quality of life. You're pruning out low people from your inner circle. And as people move upward with you, because some will, you're helping them prune out a low quality from their life. It's for all the people who are listening and not watching, you can't see my fingers just pointing in all these different directions because it's this cycle of just ah. It's the cycle of excellence. It's just like a typhoon of excellence. It's getting rid of everything that's just it's just too low. It's just it can't survive above the snake line. It can't breathe. The air is too thin up here. That's what you need. Simply moving upward and continuing to move upward when it feels like, oh, this sucks. Such and such can't experience this with me. They're going to have to be driven. Now, listen, communicate the standards, communicate how you're doing it, remain an open book to folks who want to know. Do not stop, do not move backwards, period. Listen to me. On your climb, because some people are like, listen, this sounds all good, but I'm not even sure that I'm moving forward and upward. This sounds great, but I'm not even sure that my stock is going up. I'm not even sure that my rookie card is gaining value right now. Let me tell you something. Language is the key to the rooms that you can't get in. The literal way you speak and your presentation is the key to the rooms that you can't get in. If I can't speak the language, then I can't communicate. If I can't communicate with you effectively in the language you speak, then I can't communicate the standard. Not only can I not communicate a standard to you, but let's say that you're moving at a high performers. These are called peak performers, right? These are the people in the room who are like uncommon amongst uncommon people. Those people, the people in our society or in your circle who are just driven by excellence, and you see it, and there are people. Listen, it's people in your squad who you look at them and you think this person is a peak performer. Now the world might not recognize it yet, but I see a light in them that is burning. It ain't even just shining, and it comes out in every single. They're just excellent. In order to communicate with those people effectively, that you also bring excellence to the table, you have to speak the language. Imagine this. Imagine this. I go to a Hispanic restaurant, and I love this analogy because I really be in these places. Let me explain something to you. And I go to authentic joints, okay? And some of these places are pupuserias, okay? Now I want to go get me some pupusas. That's my jam. If I can't communicate effectively with a waiter or a waitress, this has happened. I go with Kalia. Maybe she's trying to say what she wants off the menu. She's having trouble communicating it or asking questions. Maybe the person that we're with, like we don't speak Spanish and they speak Spanish. Let's say that's what it is. Let's say we speak English and they speak Spanish. If it's just her and she doesn't communicate effectively, she can't really be mad that we went there, had trouble communicating, and her order comes out wrong. It's like we can't really be mad. We came here. We are the ones who couldn't communicate effectively with the people who were there already. But then you have me who's like, I don't actually speak fluent Spanish like that, but I understand Spanish. I know what I'm reading, and I'm very good at communicating with people when there's a language barrier. I'm really good at it. I'm being literal right now. So it's not even an analogy. I'm fire at it. All right. Communicating with people where there's a language barrier, like spoken language, but I'm so fire. I don't even, it's like I might as well be speaking your language. So when my order comes out right, it's because of my level of communication with you. I was able to communicate effectively in this room. You understood what I wanted and what I brought. And I'm understanding what you're able to offer and what you brought. And look at this beautiful relationship that was just formed. The literal way I speak. Also, presentation. Let me tell y'all something about the corporate world, real quick. In the corporate world, and I worked, let's say, I mean, I've worked in all kinds of settings. I worked in a bank. Let's just say this. I did because I did work in a bank. I worked at a bank, which I shall not name, but y'all have heard it before. So if you can guess, you can guess. I worked in a bank. All right. There's a certain type of person that wants to come speak to a certain type of person. A certain type of conversations I had with folks specifically because they wanted to talk to me. At one point, I was a teller. When I was a teller, there were certain people that would come into the bank, and these people have money, they had opportunity, they had wisdom to offer, and they would only come to my line because I was able to hold certain types of conversations with them. So they would come to me, we would do their business. I understood the language of money that they spoke, and I understood the language of lifestyle that they spoke. Even though I wasn't necessarily living their same lifestyle and I did not have the same amount of money, I spoke the language, which opened the roadway for communication. Because we could communicate effectively to each other, I was able to communicate the standards that were inside of me, even though maybe my life hadn't reflected them yet. So we were able to have certain conversations about books that we were reading, about different ways to manage money, about different opportunities they had. Business ventures came out of this. My book was written during this time. I was able to communicate with people who were reading the same books as me. I was able to think deeper about the principles that I was reading because we had these conversations. These people were talking to me about money, excellence, relationships, blah, 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 blah. A whole bunch of stuff that I wrote about in my first book and things that I'm continuing to write about. Relationships I still have were formed in that thing. Business ventures, I'm telling you, me being a teller, I had more than relationships with other tellers, bankers, and the supervisors. I had relationships with the GM, a great one, a great relationship with the I mean, we would just chop it up. I'd be in the middle of my workday, we taking a walk around the block, chopping it up because I spoke the language. And we didn't do any business ventures, but just that level of relationship and that level of communication allowed me to receive so much. Not to mention things that people were able to get from me simply because I spoke their language, so they were willing to listen to me because I had so much wisdom in me. Language, that level of communication, helps you to communicate the standards that you should not adjust so that you and the people who move up with you can prune low quality out of your life so you can live a higher quality life. And in doing all of this, you stop stealing, robbing, the thievery, robbing people of an opportunity to invest in themselves. Stop that. The OGs remember that. Stop that. Listen, I'm bringing it to an end. It has been a phenomenal episode. Let me tell y'all about how I'm the king of hosts. Let me tell y'all about how this is one of the greatest shows on earth and how all y'all are finna go subscribe because you got so much out of this episode. Just, y'all see it. This is, say it with me, the Tried and True podcast where I keep it a buck in all pennies. Listen, yet again, I've been tried, you've been tried, we've all been tried. And let me tell y'all, it's so true. No cap. Peace.